Okay, guys, I think I got the final touches.
Oh, nice.
We ready to record?
Yeah, what is that? Did we invite anyone?
I don't, you guys have no idea.
Is it hot?
Nah!
My dear Wormwood, you quibble and complain that the humans in these more modern times are not as prone to arbitrary acts of violence and blood-curdling brutality as those of the olden days. You tell me you dearly miss and long to return to the glory days of spontaneous raids upon unsuspecting towns, blood feuds, sackings of cities, fighting pits of the most brutish of blood sports, excessively crude methods of open executions, ravaging bonfires and rites of human sacrifice, and bone-shattering barbarities of every sort the imagination can produce. You have quite an overactive sense of nostalgia for a junior tempter of your inexperience, my boy. Yes, I can agree with you. Men have grown to become quite distastefully soft-skinned and limp-wristed and overly scrupulous. And we can partially pin the blame on the influences of old Christendom and its abolition of the old barbarisms. And in a different and more preferable part, we can say that these are but the fruits of excessive comforts and pleasures which produced such a widespread trend of complacency, sloth, and indifference in these modern times. But have you ever known the profound pleasures that come from an exchange of the cruelest words that are spilled so carelessly from the recesses of the human heart? This is one of our most pleasing gifts to our Father below. You obviously know not of the sheer cutting potential within the sharpened sword of a slandering tongue. Violence, which kills the body, although highly pleasant to behold, lasts but a short while towards the end of it. But a violence which assaults the heart, quenches the spirit, and expels the grace of heaven from the perpetrator's very soul. Such is the violence of the tongue that can ensure such fools will be in our clutches forever. It is our favorite violence, for it slays the soul. Tell me, Wormwood, what sort of violence between these two options presented would you now prefer, if you still claim to be a lover of proper violence? Be it on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, or any other medium of our communication, we have saturated every feed with endless occasions to sin with the eyes, the mind, the tongue, and the fingers. Among our unwitting allies, both the secularists and the religionists, we have planted seeds of division and malcontent, and by means of topics both political and theological, occasioned controversies that are inflamed unto animosity and hateful slander. Have you ever seen a TikTok live? And we've ensured they can record themselves with their cell phones the very sins and scandals and mistakes of friends or family members and even strangers, and broadcast them to the world for viewers to shame and humiliate with the brutal vitriol of a public execution, left to die as food for the crows. If you so miss the practice of ritual cannibalism, the good old days, dear nephew, feast your eyes upon the cannibalism of the spoken word, where the teeth and tongue sink and bite and rip and tear into the good image of individuals with a violence more brutal than an organized massacre, at a speed swifter than the drop of a guillotine. Gaze upon it yourself. I'm sure you remember my last letter I sent to you before the enemy's advent, in which I explicitly instructed you, you imbecile, to steer clear and away from the worldlings and those who exist outside the bounds of the deplorable church of the Christians. I want you now to press your attacks against the church, the very body of the God-man who so long ago undermined the work of our Father and of our infernal empire. If those Christians should hear some saint telling them we should humble ourselves, anger and judgment come from pride, let them say to themselves, no, mine is motivated by love and concern. Mine is a righteous anger. I am saying these words for their own good. Behold and marvel before all these illustrious judges of the earth, my dear nephew. If these fools so desperately wish to imitate their Christ, who is the true judge, let them do so in a manner most usurping and unlawful. And Wormwood, make sure not a single soul among them ever kills this habit at any point of their pious little lives. The momentum cannot and must not ever be stopped from here or from any point of our struggle. Do not fail me, or you will have only my judgment to fear. It is later than you think. Your eternally unaffectionate uncle, Screwtape.